What's up, everybody, and happy 4th of July to you. In this video, I just wanted to highlight a few things, a few freedoms that we have in the United States of America that I personally am very grateful for. And sometimes things get taken for granted, especially when we are choosing different political sides and kind of focused on the divisiveness or the separation between one another. And what I want to do is just take a step back and show some gratitude for being born in the United States of America and some of the freedoms that we enjoy here in the United States that I personally am grateful for. Number one, freedom of religion. You know, you can drive up and down a city block here in the United States. You can see a Jewish temple. You can see a Muslim mosque. You can see a Catholic church, various forms of Christian types of religions. You can see spiritual centers and meditation centers. It's amazing. All freedom of religion should not be taken for granted, because in other countries, you're pretty much forced to, not only follow one religion or the other, but a lot of the different religions in other countries, they're at war with one another. It's just absolute mayhem. Here we have freedom of religion, and that's something I'm super grateful for. We have freedom of politics. Now, politics gets really sketchy here in the United States, and I think it's all over the world, because it creates divisiveness and it makes people feel like they're separate from one another. But we still have the freedom to choose what type of politics that you're going to follow. Me personally, I've distanced myself from the political scene only because it's so divisive, but we do still have that freedom, and that's something that shouldn't be taken for granted. Next is we have the freedom to choose what business we want to be in, what occupation that we want to pursue, what profession that we want to pursue. And that's something that you're not going to see in other countries as well. They pretty much choose for you what you have to do and what you have to do for the rest of your life. We have the opportunity here in the United States, freedom of education, freedom of thought. You could go, you can buy online courses, you can learn new skills. You are not limited to what you can learn here. And that should definitely not be taken for granted. You could go down right now to the Secretary of State here in the United States. You can start a business today. You can start marketing yourself tomorrow, and you can start making sales tomorrow, right? It's just not that way in other countries, and that definitely should not be taken for granted. We have freedom to accumulate assets and become wealthy. And that, my friends, should definitely not be taken for granted. There's no limit to what we can create here. There's no limit to the amount of houses we could buy or apartment buildings we could buy. There's no limit to the amount of, assets we could accumulate and, whole life insurance policies. We have crazy vehicles here to build wealth. Roth IRAs. We have stocks. You could buy, dividend paying stocks. You can invest in companies. You can invest in startups. And that should definitely not be taken for granted. We have these freedoms here, and that's something I'm super grateful for. We have the freedom to choose where we want to live in the United States. We can choose to travel interstate, go to whatever state that we choose. We can choose to set up shop there and move there if we so choose. That's all of our choice. And that's freedom that we should not be taking for granted. We have freedom of marriage. In fact, we have here, I don't know the specifics, but I know it's legal to have same-sex marriage. And that's something I think we should have. I think we should have freedom of marriage. If you want to marry somebody of the same sex and that's your thing, absolutely, you could do it here in the United States. And that's powerful, everybody. So freedom of marriage, you can be, essentially marry whoever you want. And that's powerful in of itself, should not be taken for granted. There's equal opportunity for races, and also natural born citizens and people who move here. There's freedom, the same, it doesn't matter what race you are. You could go right down to the Secretary of State and start a business just like another race. It does not limit you. It doesn't say one race could start businesses and the other race cannot start businesses. One race could buy properties and the other cannot. No, it's complete equal opportunity when it comes to what race you are here in the United States. And that's something I'm super grateful for. Here's a big one. We have the freedom of food. So we have the freedom to choose what we're putting into our body. And that should not be taken for granted. We can choose to take healthy food, or, I mean, there's an abundance and a plethora of food. I would argue to say here in the United States, we throw away more food probably than definitely than other people even have on their table and in their fridge. Just an abundance and a plethora of food for us to choose from, and that's something I'm super grateful for. So on this 4th of July, let's try to focus on things to be grateful for here in the United States of America. Happy birthday, America. And let's try to kind of shift our focus away from the division, the divisiveness. You're going to get that with these political parties and stuff like that. Today is not a day to be a Republican or a Democrat or a Libertarian or anything else. Today's the day to be an American. Happy birthday, America, and we'll see you soon.